year one of Caitlin Clark, the WNBA player, is finally in the books. The Fever lost today to the Connecticut Sun by a final score of 87-81 in Game 2 of the WNBA playoffs. That's going to send them home after just a crazy season overall, just for the Fever team, for Caitlin Clark, and for me, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? As somebody who, like, doesn't have any actual physical investment with the team, like, I don't go to practice, you know what I'm saying? I don't got to show up to the media obligations. I feel like I went through the ringer this season, you know what I'm saying? Like, just being on Twitter and seeing the toxic discourse that is that, whether it is that every time that there seems to be a game day for the Fever, apparently somebody needs to make some big racist remark that Caitlin Clark needs to respond to. It was just a very tiring experience. But through it all, man, the Indiana Fever proved to be the most impactful team, if not ever, no, definitely ever in WNBA history. They were the most impactful team in WNBA history this year. And I can say that with full facts, because not even just looking at the viewership records, just for the fact that they did come in with an immense amount of pressure. You know what I'm saying? Off the rip, they were expected to be, you know, a great team, a playoff team. Caitlin Clark is, you know what I'm saying, she came in with this great buzz. Everybody saw what she did with Iowa, taking them to the national championship a couple of years, or what is it called? The national championship. She takes them to the national championship a couple of times, and they kind of just like, hey, now she's in WNBA, she's gonna dominate that. And they start off very rocky. Start off 1-8, really not looking good. They're not. The team can't catch Caitlin's passes. Caitlin is turning the ball over like a madman. Her 3-point shot is not hitting. You know what I'm saying, to start the season. And the team just they rallied. They came together, and over the course of the year, they built and they got better each and every game, each and every week. And just to the point where we got to now, where they're a team that's in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They were the 6th seed. They were comfortably in the 6th seed. And they had a chance today to win this game. They had a chance down the stretch to win this game. And the same thing that probably burned them at various times throughout this year, burnt them once again. They were inexperienced. They were not able to run the other offense down the stretch and able to get positive looks, while the other team was able to pick their defense apart and you know, pull away with the game. So let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. So, like I said, man, Fever lost by a final score of 87-81. Caitlin Clark came out and gives you 25 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds on 10 for 23 from the floor, 3 of 12 from 3. She was not crazy efficient in this playoff run. I forgot what she was in the first game. Actually, I can pull it up right here. In the first game, she was 4 for 17. Then she came back in this game and she was 10 for 23. So she was definitely more efficient this game. But Connecticut is a team that just is very rough for Caitlin. They have very good you know, perimeter defenders with Dejanay Carrington. You know, shout out to her winning most improved and everything. It's a shame that Dejanay Carrington is as annoying as she is, because she actually is a really talented player. Like, I really respect her ability to, you know, navigate screens and to stick on to people on ball. Like, she's very good at getting into open court steals, getting her hands in passing lanes. She's really talented as a player. Very annoying as a person, or at least from what I've seen on Twitter and whatnot, with just the constant interaction that she has with fans and all that good stuff. But I'm not even talking about the racist stuff. Obviously, that's nothing that she can control. But just the toxic, the constant trolling and the constant nonsense. It's just always something. She always seems like she's trying to, you know what I'm saying, get a viral moment off at some point on Twitter, and it's just a little annoying. But their team that they have, you know, Tyisha Harris. I know she was hurt this game. There's another wing defender they have that was guarding Caitlin pretty well today too. And so they're a tough matchup for her. So for Caitlin to come out and have 25 points, I believe this is also a stat line that has never been done in WNBA history. 25, 9, and 6. So shout out to Caitlin once again for that. Aaliyah Boston came in and give you 16 points and a career high 19 rebounds. Not for nothing, Aaliyah came through and she had a really solid game. You know what I'm saying? She got into foul trouble super early. I thought that was gonna really kind of derail her and kind of throw off her rhythm, but she stayed true. Ended up, you know, making a lot of layups down the stretch, and as down the stretch of the game, as it became more of what I thought that Fever were going to be doing the entire game with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston and pick and roll action. Aaliyah Boston went right back into her being able to, you know, pick the defense apart, whether it be passing in that short roll or knocking down layups for herself. So shout out to AB. She was great this playoffs. I believe she had what was her record? I think she had the best stat line by a rookie or something like that, by a Fever rookie or something like that in her first game. And Kelsey Mitchell, while I think that she definitely did struggle, you know, shooting the ball at various times throughout this series, her numbers are not going to look super crazy. I believe her field goal percentage comes out to 42% with how she shot over the entire series. But there were just various times throughout these two games where she would miss shots for an extended period of time at times where they really needed her to make shots. Especially in that first game, when Caitlin's not hitting shots, you really want Kelsey to be in there to kind of keep the team afloat, and they ended up getting blown out because, nobody was able to get that together. And at various points throughout this game, I thought that the Sun were going to run away with it. I thought the Fever were not going to have what it takes to keep up and to compete with this team, but they came and they were able to respond from runs back to back. I think the thing that really killed the Fever many times throughout this game is that they would go on a run and then the Connecticut would call a timeout, and coming out the timeout, everything that the Indiana Fever did well before the timeout, they just stopped doing. And then Connecticut Sunday immediately were able to flip the switch, get their things back, whether it be getting a big defensive stop or knocking down a three, they were able just always, keep one up on the Fever. And even down the stretch when the Fever were able to take the lead, I fully believe that, because that's a situation we've seen the Fever in all season, for a team that's been had so many eyes on it. They've been in plenty of close games, and I've seen them pull through a lot of close games, but in this game in particular, they just weren't able to get that one play they needed that was going to take them over the hump. And down the stretch, they had two critical errors. So the first one is going to be Chrissy Sides calling that timeout with 1:20 left. I believe it was a broken possession. They were not going to get a good shot off, so Chrissy Sides calls a timeout with 2 seconds left on the shot clock so she can draw up a play. And the reason why I say that that's a critical mistake is because, well, for one, you're not really going to get a great shot. So I'm not sure how good of I know that Chrissy Sides has shown the ability to draw up a very good after timeout play, but in that moment, you're not really going to get a great shot. Connecticut is a great team. They have length all over the place. So it's going to be either a tough catch and shoot for anybody on the perimeter, or it's going to be a very, very tough pass. From the inbounder to the paint. And not even for the fact, not for nothing, she put Lexi Holland to be the inbounder, not even Caitlin Clark. So if you're gonna make that pass like she did, for it to be a pass from the sideline to the paint, at least put your best passer in that position. So but she makes that play. Lexi Holland's throwing the ball out of bounds, and then we get a full transition there. So it's no shot, wasted a timeout, and Connecticut comes down and they're able to, set up their offense in a game where they've been absolutely killing the entire time in the half-court setting. You gave them an opportunity to come in and get into their plays. And I don't think they end up scoring in that position, but the very next time down, I think maybe they do score in that position, but the very next time down, Kelsey Mitchell comes down and she's not looking confident with the ball, not looking like she really wants to take that shot, and she ends up throwing the ball away, and that ends up leading into a Marina Mabry three that essentially put the game out of reach, put Connecticut at a 4-point lead, so it became a free throw battle at that point, and they were able to pull away with the game. So as much as I love Kelsey Mitchell, man, she definitely struggled, like I said, various points throughout this series. I think that talk she had with D'Lo before the playoffs was not the best thing to do. Like, listen, I love D'Lo as much as anybody, I was a big fan when he got drafted to the Lakers, big fan when he was in Brooklyn. Even now, I saw rocking my boy. But that's not the man you want to talk to before your first playoff series. D'Angelo Russell had a terrible playoff series this year. Not to mention he had a terrible playoff series his very first time in the playoffs. So that's not the man that I would want to talk to. But honestly, it was only a matter of time. Kelsey Mitchell had been on an absolute burner really from July on. She started to cool down a little bit towards going into the playoffs, but coming into this matchup, a very, very tough Connecticut team with all the things I said that applied to Caitlin, they applied to Kelsey Mitchell also. And like I said, she tried her best, but it just wasn't enough, So shout out to the Indiana Fever, man. Shout out to this entire team for just being truly entertaining the entire summer. They could have been a team that, they were projected to be bad. They come in and they stay bad, but that wasn't the case. They came in and they fought for a playoff spot. They battled out of being 1-8, battled out of the toughest start to a WNBA season. And shout out to Caitlin Clark, man, for coming in. She's going to get a whole separate video at some point, just going over her entire season of what she's able to do, what she was able to break, just all the records, whether it be the assist record, the turnover record. She broke all the records. And, just shout out to Caitlin Clark. Like I said, that's not easy to come in with all this expectation, to come out with all, people wanting to love you, people wanting to hate you, and then also coming into a league that at times felt like it was honestly against you. Like at times where it felt like either it be WNBA players, ex-WNBA players, WNBA media. They wanted to be against Caitlyn. They wanted to turn Caitlyn into some villain, and she never fed into it. She never once gave a bad quote. She never once lashed out at somebody. You know what I'm saying? Aside from, you know, just things that happen on the court, but she never, you know, saying did anything that was egregious that would give people more fuel to hate her. Now, they ended up hating her more anyway because of the actions of other people, which is fucking stupid. But Caitlin Clark never gave them a reason to hate her. She came in, she worked hard, she improved throughout the season, she broke records, and she took the Indiana Fever to new heights. And I will have nothing but respect for that. I will have nothing but respect continued for throughout her career. You know what I'm saying? If you're an old WNBA fan, you hate all the new fans that are coming, you got to get used to us, man, because we ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Caitlin Clark is here to stay, and with the WNBA only getting better, I'm actually just kind of interested in just how big this buzz is going to get, because I think that this should be as bad as it gets, because I don't think that Paige, I don't think that Fauger or Juju or anybody's going to come in as popular as Caitlin Clark. Not saying that they're not popular, not saying that they're not beloved by their fan bases. I don't think that they'll come in with that instant impact that Caitlin Clark did. I don't think that we'll experience anything like what we did with Caitlin Clark this season for a very long time. I won't say ever again, but for a very, very long time. Let's go ahead and talk about the winners, man. The Connecticut Sun, they are moving on to round 2 of the WNBA playoffs, where it's more likely to get into playing the Minnesota Lynx, which is going to be a crazy, crazy matchup. At this point, I'm seeing that the first round of the WNBA playoffs is really just a formality, because we got sweeps all over the place. You know what I'm saying? The Liberty swept the Dream. The Aces swept Seattle. Seattle just absolute frauds the entire season. And it looks like Minnesota is going to end up sweeping sweeping Phoenix. So we're going to get them playing against Minnesota in the second round. Minnesota. We're going to end up getting Connecticut playing against Minnesota in the second round of the WNBA playoffs. And so for this game, man, like, I really just saw that playoff AT, man, she is a beast. As much as I want to talk shit, as much as I want to really hate on AB because I just don't like the style of basketball that she plays, she's too rough, man. She out there like wrestling, like doing like WWE moves and just being weird out there on the court. I don't like the way she moves, but I can't deny the fact that, man, she be hooping. You know what I'm saying? With that funky one-hand jump shot, she'll get that shit off. She got very, very solid footwork in the paint. She's a great playmaker. She finished today with 13 assists. And she really is just the heartbeat and soul for that entire Connecticut Sun team. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is what gets the defense going. She is what runs the offense, gets everybody orchestrated. So her impact cannot be understated. And I can just see now that, like, this is really where her MVP impact is shown, and where a situation where it's a lot of half court offense, where it's a lot of, we got to slow it down. This possession has to be a good possession. She's very, very good at slowing things down, taking things into her own hands, and also sometimes just fading back and letting Dejanay, letting Marina, letting Dewana just go out there and just do the thing offensively. So same thing with Bree Jones and everything. She's just a very, very good player. Speaking about Dewana Bonner, she was huge down the stretch of this game. Like, at a couple of times where I thought that the Fever would be able to pull away and to be able to make and to force that game 3, Dewana Bonner said hell no. She came out in the fourth quarter and had 9 big points. She had a big 3 down the stretch to give Connecticut a 1-point lead, and I think it ended up being a lead that they never gave back. But they take a 1-point lead after a big Dewana Bonner 3, and from that point on, the game is really over. So the veterans for the Connecticut Sun really came and just like gave one big last, I'm not gonna say one big last hoorah, but one big push to just be like, all right, young Bucky, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? The Connecticut Sun are serious about winning the championship this year. And I'm not gonna lie, various times throughout the year, I questioned them. I questioned they'd have the ability to score enough points to compete with, you know what I'm saying, the Lynx and the Aces and the Liberty of the world. But I guess we'll find out. We'll find out in round 2. Again, shout out to Dejanay Carrington for becoming the most improved player. While some people think that it could have been Kennedy Carter or anything like that, she's very deserving. I believe I had her winning it on my my ballot, so my personal ballot. So shout out to Dejanay Carrington, super talented player. And yeah, man, for this going into Minnesota, man, the keys for them to beat them is that they're gonna have to get huge offensive contribution from Marina Mabrey and Dejanay Carrington. Like they were solid in these 2 games. Marina especially was great. What did she have today? She had 17 points today. I believe she had 27 points, which was a WNBA playoff record in game 1. But that's gonna have to continue into round 2, and then Dejanay is gonna have to be more consistent. I believe in the first game she had 14 points. Today she had 10 points. So she's been solid, and she's also gonna give you great defense. But for coming against a team like Minnesota, that is, they got 3-point shooting. They have great, they're great defenders, also great at defending the paint, great at forcing you to have to knock down 3-point shots. It's not going to be an easy matchup. It's not gonna be, I don't think it's going to be a situation where Connecticut's going to be able to dominate them because Minnesota's so good at swarming the paint. So Marina and Dejanay on the perimeter are going to have to be huge in terms of making Minnesota's defense break down. So what I got here is that Connecticut's 3-point shooting is going to have to equal out with their 3-point defense. It can't be a situation where if Minnesota is knocking down 14 threes that Connecticut only knocks down 3, you know what I'm saying, or knocks down 6. Like, it has to have some kind of balance, because if not, that's really going to be where Minnesota is going to run away with the game. They're a very, very good 3-point shooting team. They I believe they have like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 40-point 3-point shooters on their team, and that so far looks like that's carrying over into the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting in the next round, and who's going to take that Nafisa Collier assignment? You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a tough one. I don't think they have anybody that's particularly a great matchup. I wouldn't put Dewana on her. Do you go the AT route? But what does that do for AT on offensively? Like, you got to think about these things, but fortunately it's not my job to do so. So once again, man, shout out to the Connecticut Sun. Moving on to round 2, and that's all I got for this one, man. That's it for Indiana Fever fan Joe, at least for this season. I'll be talking about the rest of the playoffs going forward, but no more Caitlin Clark to talk about, man. So shout out to Caitlin Clark one more time, man, and I'll holler at you guys in the next video, man. Peace and love, family. Deuces.